Good morning. We want to begin today with some 11 o'clock around this time frame. You all bear with us. Daily briefings for you. We know the importance of pushing out accurate information. I cannot stress enough at this time as we continue in the operations from public safety to water services that have resulted from the floods of 2015, the importance of accurate information. And we appreciate you all for being here daily, but it is very important that you get the information from the City of Columbia, from the source, particularly when it comes to water and wastewater services. So today we're going to talk about water, wastewater, and I'm going to give Chief Holbrook and Sheriff Lott a little bit of time at the end as well to talk about any public safety updates they have for you. We've been very hopeful over the last several days, and we remain hopeful and positive. We will get this done as far as securing the water source for the citizens of Columbia, South Carolina. We will get it done. We've had a few setbacks in the last day or so, and we want to address those with you, give you the facts, but we are fully operational. There is not one of our plants that is not up and running. The individuals behind me are professional engineers, our contractors who have been out here working around the clock. I mean, no one has ever left, and we won't leave until we get this done for our citizens. So we want to give you the facts today about what is actually happening. The benefit of the plan that we had implemented, and our folks will explain that to you shortly, is that we had contingencies in place even beforehand. So we are implementing those contingencies now, and we're just going to keep pushing forward. I understand in the generation that we live in now, my child, many of your children, they are used to turning on the faucet in the morning and the water comes out. We want to talk in people speak, and as much as we can start pushing out some educational information for the public about what it means to have a water treatment plant down here at the canal, how it works under normal conditions, and then what we're doing now to ensure that we maintain water services with this water source. So we're also going to be getting that kind of information out to you as well. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Missy Gentry, who is our Assistant City Manager over Operations, Joey Jaco, our Utilities and Engineering Director, and Clint Shealy, who is our Waterworks Superintendent. Clint is over both of the water treatment plants that we serve through this system. If you have any questions thereafter from me, I'm City Manager Teresa Wilson, then we'll come back up and answer those. We'll also, again, like I said, close out with some public safety updates. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for being here today. We want to talk about what's going on. I know that you've all seen that the dam that we had hoped to have complete yesterday, we were not successful at that. We were very optimistic that we would be. Yesterday was pretty disappointing for not only our community, but for the people who's been working around the clock at this site. But I want to tell you that we weren't relying on that. That was not our only plan of action. We were already laying lines and putting pumps in place that if that was not successful, that we could pull directly from the canal at a lower elevation. We also have pumps in place, and we're shortly going to be laying line that we can pull directly from the river. So if for some reason there's another breach, and there could be another breach, so don't think that if there is, we're out of water, because we're not. Our plant is operational. We will shortly have not only the pumps that are running from the canal, but before Saturday, we should have pumps to the river as well. So we're very confident that that will be in place. I want to give some numbers about our plants. The Lake Murray plant, on average this time of year, normally pumps 28 million gallons of water. Yesterday, it pumped 40.8. The Lake Murray plant is solid. We're able to pull some of the Lake Murray water towards this area, and we're doing that to the extent we can. The canal plant, this time last year, was pumping 28.3 million. Yesterday, we pumped 39.2 million. We're running at full capacity. We intend to do so. There are no plans to turn Columbia's water off. Saying that, we do acknowledge the setbacks. We do acknowledge the disappointment. we're working on an uphill battle, but we're going to cross the finish line.
Let me say something real quick. And I think obviously many of you have copies of the Columbia incident report brief. If you don't, I encourage you to get a copy of it before you leave here today, or go to our website and make sure you have it. This has all the facts that our constituents need to have. The media has played such an important role in this process. People need information. They need accurate information. They need it immediately. So whether it's available via TV or via radio or via social media, we want to make sure they have the facts. The system is running. It's running strong. There's several contingency plans in place. Some of you were down here late last night and saw the National Guard, the State Guard, our engineers, our contract engineers, along with SC&G, working hard diligently throughout the night to make sure that what we know remains true. The system is running strong. They're working on that. It's so imperative, so important. That in this age of social media where everyone's getting so much information from different sources, that accurate information gets out. And we need you all to make sure that this accurate information from the source gets to our constituents. There are no plans to shut off the water system. Zero plans to shut off the water system, okay? We're working to make sure that we deliver strong, healthy, potable water to every constituent in the city and in this region that relies on the system. Our folks are working hard. This will get done. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when and how. The how means that there's several contingency plans in place. When, we'd hope it would have been done yesterday. Now we're looking at maybe another couple of days. But everyone's hard at work, and they need to have the full confidence and support of all of us in making sure that we have their backs. We don't need a whole bunch of other bad information getting out. So as you report, please rely on this incident report brief to get the facts out and not relying on what you might hear in the street. I want to take a quick moment just to thank, again, Chief Holbrook, Chief Jenkins, and Sheriff Lott, and all of our first responders, 911, the National Guard. I tell you what, everyone's been fantastic in making sure that our folks remain safe, that the search and rescue missions executed earlier this week are just phenomenal. Many of you know that over the last 2 weeks in the Carolinas, we had over 12 trillion gallons of water hit the ground. 12 trillion gallons of water. This is an incredible event, prayerfully a once-in-a-lifetime event, but I want you to remain assured that all of your local officials, your state officials, and your federal officials are working every single day around the clock to make sure we restore quality of life, make sure we keep our people safe, and get everyone back on their feet as soon as possible. Thank you.
I'm going to talk a little bit about water distribution stations as well as another plan that we're getting ready to put in place. The stations are still operational. We did notify the agencies that there may be some more anxious people, so to expect a larger crowd today, so they should be capable of handling that. The city is also working with our partner agencies across the state to bring in some water buffalo stations. We're going to house those at our fire stations throughout the city and county. We will spread those as widespread as we can. They are basically 275-gallon water tanks that you can just come and fill up bottles or whatever you need to fill up. So as soon as those are made available, it's probably going to be tomorrow, because we have to test the water and make sure everything's good. As soon as they're available, we will let you know that as well. I want to take a brief minute to talk about debris removal. I know that's not the primary focus of today, but the City of Columbia is already dispatched into the areas of impact. We're removing this debris from the street. Folks do need to take it to the right-of-way. We will not be going in yards, because we can't risk taking a piece of property that somebody was not ready to give up. They need to bring it to the street. They need to sort it by white goods and electronic goods. That's a requirement from the landfills, but we are out there already. We're making a dent. If you're missing your roll cart, we suspect there's a lot of roll carts missing. Call our customer care number and report it, 545-3300. Oh, and also through the rest of the city with garbage collection. We did resume collection today. So Thursday's route is being picked up today. Friday's route will be picked up tomorrow, and into next week. We will continue garbage service throughout the city of Columbia. We will not do recycling, and we will not do trash through the end of next week. After that, we suspect we will be full operation, but we will let you know for sure when that returns. So garbage is in full operation as of today. Yeah. The boil water notice is still in effect for the majority of the system. We did lift the boil water for the Chapin portion of the system. As it's able to be lifted for other portions, we will certainly put those releases out. But anyone outside of that Chapin, Irmo area, you do need to boil your water. We've got a map online to help folks distinguish if they need to boil it or not. So make sure you help folks get a link to that as well, because we want to make sure that everybody who does not have to boil it is aware of that, because I know that that's an aggravation.
Sure.
First thing I want to report, and I'm asking y'all to really help us out on this, is that we just arrested within the last hour 2 people for looting. They're charged with a felony, which carries a 10-year penalty. We caught them stealing stuff out of people's yards, and we also caught them stealing stop signs and street signs. Public information officers with the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department will be giving you this information, but we have zero tolerance for any type of looting or stealing going on. And they're charged with violation of unlawful acts during a state of emergency. It's not just stealing something. It's a very serious crime with a felony. So we have 2 arrests that we want you to put that out. We want everybody to know that this is not going to be tolerated. Zero tolerance. We still have people moving barricades. The 2 deaths that we had yesterday morning was a result of barricades being moved. We have now learned that they were not moved by the victims. Somebody else had moved these barricades. The victims did not know that. They didn't see the barricades when they drove down the road. But the barricades are up for a reason. We need them to remain where they're at. The curfew is going, the city and the county has both asked that the curfew is going to be tonight, and we're asking that it be extended at least through Sunday night. So we're anticipating the curfew to last for at least a few more days through the first of the week. Chief Holbrook's going to talk about some efforts that we've got, but we've got designated areas in the county that's been devastated more than others. We have a very large force of police officers there that are a combination from various departments that are patrolling during the day, where we just had a problem now, but also at night too. We're actually having more at night than we got in the daytime. But we need people to abide by the curfew with the weather the way it is, and people want to be curious, and thieves out here. We're starting to see more and more people violate the curfew. The curfew is there for a reason, and we're going to enforce the curfew. I guess to be very blunt, we're getting tired of people messing around and moving barricades and riding around at night and trying to steal and being nosy. We've got to stop that. But the law enforcement is working very closely. We haven't, the chief will talk about, we haven't had any deaths last 24 hours. We still have a lot of work to go. We have lots of people out here in the rural areas, Gadsden, Eastover. We're responding there. We have that covered. There's not any part of the city of Columbia or Richland County that we don't have people at. But this looting, we're not going to have that. We got enough problems. We don't need thieves coming into town and trying to take advantage of this situation. So please help us by getting that word out, so maybe we can scare some people off from doing that.
I'd like just to give you a brief update of our current status. I'd first like to say that I have the honor of working with our law enforcement heroes every day, but I have to tell you what I've witnessed in the last few days with our leadership staff at the city, with Miss Wilson and Miss Gentry and their support staff. They're heroes. It's been incredible to watch, and we're darn lucky to have folks like that stick with it and push through problems. They're problem solvers, and it's very reassuring to me, and I hope it is to everybody else. Law enforcement and emergency operations continues to push forward. Fire department's done a great job coordinating search and rescue, and that continues, and they continue to expand that out with well over 3,500 points of contact throughout the city and county where they're putting hands on people and residents. We have no reported missing persons or reported fatalities in the last 24 hours beyond what the recovery that occurred yesterday morning. Traffic control and access control is going to be important. We're asking for people to be very patient with us. What we're trying to do is help facilitate city workers and county workers getting into these affected areas for debris removal. We're trying to control volunteers and people just, trying to help, but that's going to, we're having to establish some traffic patterns and kind of redirect people to some specific areas to park and kind of walk into the affected areas. So we're asking for cooperation and patience. Again, we've not given specific numbers of the law enforcement or first responder numbers that we have on the ground, but I'll generally say it's well in excess of 200, and that is, we've had incredible partnership with our state partners and other municipalities throughout the state that we're reaching out to help supplement what we're doing. But again, we're kind of running two separate things. We've got search and rescue continuing. We got standard city and county patrol operations that we have to sustain, and then we have affected areas that require very specific attention and a lot of collaboration from a lot of moving parts. Thank you.
I do want to recognize Councilwoman Tamika Isaac Devine and Councilman Cameron Runyon, who are also here. The support from our mayor and city council has been tremendous to allow the staff and myself to just do the things that we need to do. I don't know if either one of them need to speak. I think Missy and Joey may have a few other just housekeeping matters as far as water, wastewater services, and then we can wrap up and take any questions.
You have probably received the notice that we are encouraging folks to conserve water. We're all part of this community, not just the people receiving our water, the people working on this problem. We live here. This is where we live, work, and play as well, where our families are. We're all in this together, and I know the community just has been tremendous in reaching out and asking what they can do. So please conserve water. If you have irrigation systems, make sure they're turned off. Make sure that no water's being used that is not necessary. I want to just put out there's been a lot of rumors that we have 12 hours worth of water left. That is not true either. We have a reservoir, we have tanks in our system, but we're replenishing that reservoir. That's what the pumps in the canal and the pumps that will soon be going to the river. It's replenishing our supply as we speak. So I just wanted to let you know that, and thank y'all for being here.
Questions? Oh, I'm sorry.
One more thing, Cameron Runyon, on the eastern side of the Gills Creek area on Garners Ferry Road, 7355, we have a mobile barbecue set up to provide hot meals for those who are in need or those who are serving people in need. We can prepare up to 4,000 meals a day to help folks who have been displaced or who don't have the ability to produce food right now. Citizens or people in need can call 803-695-2363, 695-2363 between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. and schedule the number of meals that they need to come pick up. So if your church has 100 people that they're helping to serve, they can call, place their order, and pick up at 11 a.m. for lunch or 4 p.m. for dinner. If y'all would help me get that out. Thank you.
Questions?
The question relates to the electrical system. If you've noticed, there's some poles hanging by the wires. That's not how SCNG prefers their poles to be placed. I will tell you that. We are testing their theory. That's what they did think would happen. There is no one without power right now. They have a duplicate system. That they have a lot of redundancy, and we're working with them to see if there's some more redundancy needed, but there's no power loss right now. Those lines are de-energized as well. We are currently evaluating it. I'm gonna let Joey answer that actually.
As Joey comes up, and we'll repeat that question, but it's very important to us. I mean, SCNG has been a phenomenal partner throughout all of this, but we would encourage you all to address your specific questions to them. You know, we're all very close to the vest with our communications processes, and I think the way Missy answered just now is just right, but please defer to SCNG on any power questions.
The question was whether or not we have any additional weaknesses in the canal wall. We are inspecting the canal twice a day, further up from where we're working. We have had some setbacks because where we are working, we've had some conditions where we've lost additional parts of the canal. So, but we are still, our plan is still moving forward, and we're still continuing where we are now. But we're inspecting our canal at least twice a day outside of where we're working. So we have not found any additional concerns at this point. What you see up here is the only collapse that have happened. Well,
Answer his question first, and then
I'll get you, Adam. Yes, sir. What was your question? The different plans that have been mentioned today, they're all working at the same time. The canal repair, we have a contractor working on that. We have different contractors on our bypass pumping that we're setting up. The bypass pumping at the canal, that's already set up. That's already in place. We're pumping today, right? Last night we pumped out of the canal. That is working right now. The other bypass plan, we have a separate contractor working on that. I mean, we're trying to look at this every which way we can, and all plans are working at the same time. Yeah, our highest priority was to get the canal repaired by now, but unfortunately we've had some conditions that we haven't got. That's not complete yet. The only areas of the city that are still without water are the areas that are isolated because of line breaks. We have been able to, as far as the system and our source goes, we are supplying our system with water right now, but we do have some areas because of the conditions during the flooding. We had line breaks, and we have not been able to get to all of them yet. I mean, we are working to get to all of them now. We've had to isolate areas that we have had line breaks so we don't continue to lose water within the system, but we're working diligently to make those repairs. I can't name the exact areas. The no boil water advisory, we have lifted it in certain parts of our system that we know are not affected, but the total boil water advisory will not be lifted until we're sure that we've addressed all the issues that are out today.
answer Adam. Let's get Beam's question.
All right, Adam, what was your question again? I mean, the long-term solution is we're going to repair our canal dike. I mean, that's the long-term solution. It is a dam, and it's going to take some time to engineer it properly and construct it, but we could be looking at easily months before we make that repair. But in the meantime, once we get this temporary dam built, we will be pumping out of our canal just like we normally do. So our short-term solution is dam the canal, pool water, so we can continue our water source. And then the long-term solution is we repair our dike, our levee, and then we go back to normal operation. We've not stopped construction.
I'll speak to it, John.
Okay.
It's okay, yeah. I'm going to let law enforcement answer that question. But in response to your question directly and Cliff's follow-up question, this document will be posted online within 30, 45 minutes or so. We believe in full transparency and making sure people understand exactly what's impacting their daily lives. There are still 5 breaks that are under repair right now across the system, 3 areas that are flooded. still, so of course that impedes the repair of those lines. A full listing of what has been repaired between Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, what's currently under repair, and what's flooded will be available. And of course, all those directly address the issue of the boil water alerts. When those are repaired and we can have the consistency and reliability full of the system is when the boil water alerts will be. But this will be published in full on the website very soon. I haven't talked to the State Fair about postponing their schedule. If the sheriff or the chief want to speak to that law enforcement question about moving barricades, we can, but we're going to wrap it up real soon. Yes, ma'am. I think just like many of you and the men and women behind me, we haven't slept a lot the last few days. We've been out watching people rebuild their lives. And I will tell you, it's been encouraging all across this region. We've been on the ground. We've been delivering water. We've been helping people clean out their homes. We've taken aerial views of the incredible damage of this 1,000-year event as well. I will tell you this, though, the incredible silver lining. I know that I travel this country and the world. My colleagues do. The sheriff does as well. And we always tell people, and people don't believe you sometimes when you talk about the incredible spirits that exist in this community. I just left the Drew Wellness Center. We had a collection of people, some of whom probably never would have met each other. Students from USC, Heathwood Hall Episcopal School, the Masons, the Order of the Eastern Star, New Spring Church. Just a number of folks out there sharing food and water with people in need. This is a great community. We're coming together at a momentous point in our history. Again, I want to underscore the fact it's not a question of whether or not the repair of this dike wall will get done. It'll get done. And if we have further slope failure on the new area, that also will be repaired. There are a number of plans in place to make sure we get this done. It's a question of when and how it gets done. But it will get done. It'll get done post-haste, and we'll make sure we deliver not just the quality water, but quality of life back to the people of Columbia in this region that they deserve. Thank you so much.